We're heading from our property over in Tillamook, Oregon to Netarts Bay to do a little bit of clamming in the upper part of the bay. There's a very good clam tide today and the weather looks decent. The bay looks flat calm. We go over Cape Lookout and down the other side till we come to Netarts Bay. Netarts Bay is not only close to where we have our property, but it is supposed to be the cleanest bay in Oregon. So that sounds like a really good place to go clam digging and get good quality clams. We wind up over the windy mountain road over Cape Lookout, and then when we get to the bottom, it's not far and we'll see Netarts Bay. We go past Cape Lookout State Park. This is where I worked for a lot of years as a park ranger. Then we follow toward Netarts and we start seeing Netarts Bay almost instantly. There's a few houses have sprung up along the bayfront, but not much else has changed here. It's just been in rather recent years that they have an oyster industry here, and there's several people raising oysters out in Netarts Bay. One of the reasons there were no oysters grown here was they don't reproduce out in this bay. The water is too cold for them. But then a person put a building up where they have big tanks heated with propane or natural gas, and they heat the water up to where they can spawn the oysters. So you just take some shells down to him and they put them in a tank where the little larvae get on them, and once the larvae are established on them, you take these shells back out and put them in Netarts Bay, and they grow into being really big, nice oysters here in the waters at Netarts Bay. This is the spot where we normally go clam digging, but today we're going to go right on past down beyond the boat ramp and check on the clamming there. I have dug clams there before. You dig them in a bunch of loose rock and sand combination, and it was pretty good for the large blues. But today we might do it or might not. We'll go down and take a look and see if we want to give it a try. The 3 arch rocks are standing watch right offshore. We drive down right past the boat ramp and down a little road beyond the boat ramp, and we'll be to the spot where you can dig clams pretty soon. And we'll take a look at it and see if we want to do it here or go back up to the upper part of the bay. The tide is roaring out real good now. It's going to be a minus 1.8 today, so it's really good for exposing the clams. The boat ramp is operated by Tillamook County, and they even have a restroom here and a fair amount of parking for those that want to take a boat out on the bay and do a little crabbing or clamming. The old Schooner restaurant, we're going right past it, and it's been here as long as I can remember. but I've never gone in there and eaten. Maybe someday I'll have to give it a try. Although normally we don't eat out, we do our own cooking. We go on down the little frontage road between the bay and a few houses, and there's some spots where we could park if we want to go clam digging, but the tide isn't out real far yet, and usually we go to the upper part of the bay, so I think we'll just turn around and go back up to the spot where we normally dig them. The Three Arch Rocks are an important wildlife refuge with lots of birds, and some of the giant stellar sea lions live out here. Each rock has a pretty good size opening in it where you can see through. It's an arch. Then we go past a few very nice beach homes at Netarts, and we're going to head back up to our regular spot to dig clams today. The tide is still roaring out, but it looks to me like it's going to clear off and be a really fine day for digging clams. We're going to find out in just a little bit here. We see a few boats go speeding by us as we're on our way up to our special place to dig clams. The tide is going out real rapidly now, and there's a lot of sand that's dry. So as soon as we get out there, we'll be able to start digging for some bay clams. I'm not sure what the intentions of these boats are, but they very well might be going to tend to their oysters. And so there are no public oyster beds in Oregon, so it's illegal to even pick up one oyster unless you've leased the land and have an oyster farm. We finally reached the spot where we're going to park and go out, dig clams. There's a little parking lot here as well as a porta potty, and then you climb down a rather steep bank onto the muds of Netarts Bay. There are lots of holes in the sand here, but don't get excited yet. Those aren't clams, they're from shrimp and worms and other things that like to drill holes in the sand. So we've got a ways to hike, and I'm guessing it might be close to a half-mile out across the intertidal muds of Netarts. We can see lots of birds setting around. This is feast time for the birds. When the tide is out, everyone gets their belly full of creatures from the sea. We finally reach out to a spot where we're going to try digging for clams, and it looks like I've found my first one. And it looks to be an excellent eating quahog clam, so I'll drop him in the bucket. And here's another one. That's a cockle clam, and they're a little bit tough, but they're the favorites for making clam chowder. So Marge and I'll look for some more holes and continue digging till we get our limit. And the limit of them is the first 20 clams you dig. And out of that 20 clams, only 12 of them can be the gapers or horse necks. And you want to check your limit real careful to see you don't get over it, or you could get a citation. The seagull, he's standing there by some other clam diggers, and he figures maybe that if they turn their back, he can sneak up there and stick his head in the bucket and have him a free meal. And they'll do it in
Okay, boom.
We're digging down
Oh, here's a nice one.
into the sands, and here comes another. I believe that's another quahog. So they'll be really good, and we're starting to get a few in the bottom of our bucket now. And there's definitely plenty of them out here, and the tide's going to be really low, so that'll give us plenty of time to dig. A lot of other diggers are out after them, and it looks like I'm a muddy, wet, sandy mess, but who cares? We're digging clams, not going to a fashion show. That wet mud's got quite a bit of suction, and it's pretty heavy to lift out of there. And then the darn walls start caving in on the hole we're digging clams in.
Oh, that's a nice one. Now that same hole. Let me take. There, Tom's getting more clams. There's a picture of the hole where a clam is probably under it. Look at that. Now Tom's going to dig it out. He's got his shovel right there.
My favorite trick is to find a place where there's a whole bunch of holes from the quahogs, and then dig a big hole and just keep enlarging it. The only trouble, the water comes in and washes the sides start caving in, and you get too much water in it to really dig very well. So it's the best thing is just start a new hole. There are a few other people out here digging, and the best way, particularly if you're new at it, is to find a little group of people out and just walk over by them. There's always somebody there that knows what he's doing. And this old boy looks like he knows what he's doing. Here's the spot where I'm going to start digging. All those little holes. They're quahog clam holes.
Those seagulls are hoping somebody will throw them a clam.
Keep enlarging it, and I should get a bunch of them out of there.
Everybody better watch
it looks like I'm getting a little free advice here from the feathered part of the bay. Marge has found a big blue clam here. She felt his neck and just kept digging down. And it looks like he's way down deep, but she's not giving up on him. That's a meal in itself if you can get one of those guys out.
Okay, rinse him off a little.
So she finally got one out. And let's take a look at it, Marge, and see what it is.
Let's hold him out and let me look at him.
Oh,
see?
It's a blue, but
nice.
Look at him.
Or no, it's a quahog.
Shooting water out. Yeah.
And not a real big one like we were hoping for.
There must be a blue there.
Some of them are
look at the
pretty
clam
deep,
holes.
but if you just start digging the hole and just keep enlarging it, you'll find a lot of them. It's a really good place to dig. Just don't give up on it. There are plenty of them down there. They're down. The water table's pretty high there today, and the sand is pretty crumbly. But if you keep at it, get right in there with your hands and give it your all, and you're going to come out with a real delicious meal of clam. When we get close to the clam, we set the shovel aside and dig by hand, because we don't want to break the shells on these beauties. These quahog clams take a little work. They're a little bit deep, but boy, when you get them, you'll get them if you keep after it. and they're really excellent eating.
Yeah, wait, no. Okay, just a second.
You got him?
No? Oh, shoot. Yeah. Ah. He's right there. Just a second.
You got him?
Just about.
Is it a big blue?
Yeah, something. Okay.
Can you wiggle him a little?
Oh, wow.
Is he wiggling?
Yeah.
Well, you about got him then.
Mm-hmm.
Mud has quite a bit of suction.
Oh, wow.
What's he doing?
He's coming.
My gosh. No wonder he was so tough to get out. Rinse him off a little bit there.
That was terrible. And I got my clothes all muddy. Look at that.
Let's take his picture and then you can wash off. Okay, hold him up. Nice one.
Wow.
What a nice big blue she just dug out.
phone's not
And
working
they're
right.
excellent eating. There's not a whole lot of them right in this area where we're digging. It's mostly quahogs here, but we get an occasional blue, and it looks
how
like
did we
she's
do?
got 2 in her bucket
Looks like
now.
we did good.
So they'll be really
Here, I took a
good
picture.
eating. And
I'm ready
if
to
you
head
get
out.
one of
Are
those
you?
big guys,
Yeah,
that's
we
about
both got
enough
our limits,
for
huh?
one person there. When we get back, we have to remember to wash our tools off really good and then put a coat of oil on them. Otherwise, in this salt water, they'll rust something terrible. The rakes like she's carrying, they're for cockles. They're usually within the first 2 inches to the surface of the sand, and so you have to just rake them out of the sand, and then a good garden shovel is really good to dig for the blues and the quahaug. Back over Cape Lookout and down the other side, we'll be going through the old sand dunes here in a little while, and these sand dunes have been pretty much stabilized. Back during the 50s and 60s and 70s, there was an effort to stabilize the sand dunes. Now I think that there's a push not to, because we don't have a whole lot of sand dunes left. But the sand is still there just under this stuff. First they plant beach grass, which isn't even a native here, and then they plant Scotch broom on it, and the Scotch broom builds up nitrogen in the sand, and then trees will grow on it. And so the sand dunes are disappearing that way, but I think there's some areas where they're not allowed to do that. Back in the 70s, the buggies firing up and roaring like crazy all the time, and then they put a muffler restriction on them. This
That's
place,
your two big.
Here's the two biggest
these
ones
sand
we got.
dunes are real close
Hold
to
them
our
up a little
property, and we could
so
hear
we can
those
see
how
them.
big they are?
sand dune bugs.
Yeah, those are nice.
And then there's all of these others. There's a nice big cockle.
There's a big cockle and a bunch of quahogs.
And a bunch of quahogs. And here's a couple of big cockles that Tom got.
Are both our limits there?
Yes. There's 20 here, and here's 20 here. That's counting these in the 20 for mine. This end's mine, and this end's yours.
So now we better get started
20
cleaning
clams.
these clams.
Are we going to have a
and
clam feed or what?
cooking a few of them too to try them out. We put these in hot water just enough that they open, and then we put them in cold water, and we can take them right out of the shell that way.
Okay. I think we have them all out of there. You can take them. So what are you going to do first?
Well, I'll take it out of the shell.
And now let's see the big shell. Better known as the horseneck clam.
There it is.
And there's its big neck. And then that peels right off.
It's coming off. We have to take this skin off the neck.
It peels right off.
There's a little crab that was in this one's neck, and those aren't a parasite, they just live there to have a place to live. This is what the neck of that big blue looks like when you get it all peeled off and ready to eat. All it needs is a little pounding now and frying.